Thank you so very much for dropping by this video. This is going to be a time to practice something called tuning in, or receiving a divine healing energy. It's very easy to do. I've posted the instructions in the chat box and below this video. Very simply, you observe your body with the intention to receive that divine healing energy. It can be helpful to say a prayer inwardly or outwardly, and to really separate yourself from all burdens and worries, to hand them over to your understanding of a higher power or a spiritual being or spiritual helper who you believe can help you. So it'll be a period of silence with an occasional reminder from me on practicing. As if you were standing in the sunlight and you're enjoying that feeling. Drink in, take in the divine energy. Letting thoughts pass on by. If there's a clingy negative thought, pushing it away or handing it over to higher power. taking in this divine healing energy, letting go of what doesn't serve, what isn't good. All right, if you'd like to continue tuning in, practicing, please do. I'm going to talk a little bit. So in the time of that I'm making this video, it's New Year's Day, and it's the 8th day of Christmas. So what I've noticed is that on holidays, you could call them civic holidays, where a lot of businesses are shut down, a lot of people aren't working, there's a special peace in the air. And so I like to take advantage of that or put that to good use by doing extra spiritual practice on those days, extra tuning in, extra reflection. And of course, we're in the Christmas season still, and Bruno Groening said that this season is spiritually very blessed. So from my point of view, it's today, January 1st, is kind of a double whammy. We've got a spiritual blessing, and we have the fact that people are less active. There's less stress and energy in the air. So from my point of view, it's a very good day for spiritual practice. The other thing that's really on my mind and heart is that Bruno Groening never wanted us to worship him, but he did want us to trust in him. And that's a very interesting, he was very humble, very humble. That's a very interesting thing to reflect on. What does it mean to trust someone? Specifically, what does it mean to trust a spiritual teacher? And my current reflection on that is that all of us here on this earth, in a body, we're surrounded by and swimming in a sea of evil, a sea of negative energy that constantly tries to, as Bruno said, attack us, pull us off the good path. It's very stressful. And that beings such as Bruno Groening are people who have risen above, for whom, as Bruno said, he said, I am stronger than evil. So he was able to come into this sea of evil in a body on this earth, and while certainly it was uncomfortable and painful, he was still able to stay connected to God and, in my view, fully listen to God and be guided by God and not be overcome by the evil at all. So I kind of view being such as Bruno Groening as someone who is, on solid ground and throwing us a rope. And all of us are drowning, churning water in this very yucky sea. Now, that's not to say every aspect of life is yucky or bad, but here I'm talking specifically about the pervasiveness of the negative energy. And so there are beings such as Bruno Groening who throw us a line and who not only teach us how to emerge from the murky, yucky, really disgusting sea of evil. And again, I'm not talking about matter and the world. I'm talking about this negative energy. So not only do they show us through their example, they give us teachings that can help us to emerge from the yuck, but they also offer help. Like Bruno's thrown us a line, metaphorically, and he's also pulling that line in. And my understanding is that no teacher can do it all for us. But my also understanding is we can't do it all on our own. We need the help of a being such as Bruno Groening. That's what I've become convinced of through this path and through studying Bruno's teachings. So I'm starting to think of Bruno Groening and beings such as Bruno as literally people who are trying to save my life, who are working for saving my life. I'm not just talking about the life of this body. I'm talking about the freedom of my soul. Because Bruno Groening said, the purely divine soul is clutched by the claw of evil. And that's what this work is truly all about. Freeing the purely divine soul from the clutches of evil. It's almost an exact quote. So my understanding is that is what the essence of Bruno Groening's work is helping to free all of us from the clutches of evil. And again, I speak of evil as an energy, as did Bruno. So Bruno didn't want worship from us. He wanted us to worship God and to love God. He wanted us to trust in him, in Bruno. He wanted us to strive for God. He said, I am fighting for you, pointing out once again that the spiritual life is a battle, not a worldly battle. So lately, how I've been feeling towards Bruno Groening is a kind of reverence and surrender. I don't exactly have the word, but I just, understanding my condition and understanding, I believe, the human condition of being under constant attack from evil. And here's this person under constant attack from an enemy that I can't overcome on my own, and I can't overcome without right spiritual understanding. And so here's a being like Bruno Groening who appeared. Not only did he offer teachings that I can apply to work my way out, but he's working, he's fighting, he's doing his part. And sometimes he'll take on illnesses and burdens and evil. He talked about this. He said that he could take on a burden and burn it up inside his body. That's, of course, when he was in his physical body. I assume he said, once I'm no longer in a body, I'll be able to help more people. So he won't do it all for us, but he will do so much. So this phrase comes is throw myself at the feet of the masters. And I'm particularly focused on Bruno Groening and the Buddha, as well as Christ. But right here, right now, I feel very, but that regardless, that's my path. I'm just wanting to make clear that I don't consider Bruno Groening to be the only master, the only one who can help. And so I feel this kind of reverence and devotion and surrender of, I have a problem that I cannot solve on my own. Only God and a master, only with the help of God and a master can I find freedom. That's my belief, based on my study of Bruno's teachings and also based on my study of other wisdom traditions. So how to feel towards someone who is working towards saving my soul. And the phrase saving my soul, it sounds so religious. I don't mean it in a religious sense. I mean it in a spiritual sense. I feel humility towards Bruno Groening. I feel gratitude. I feel devotion. And I feel this sense of, I say yes to your help. You know, Bruno Groening, when people would say to him, like, who are you? You know, it's a reasonable question. Bruno Groening gets up and just starts talking, and like blind people start to see, paralyzed people stand up out of their wheelchair. And this didn't just happen once, it happened over and over and over and over. Cancer would just vanish, and people would say to him, who are you? And he'd say things like, I'm your friend. He'd say things like, you don't recognize me because you don't know yourself. He'd say, I'm your helper. But when he'd say, I'm your friend, it certainly isn't friend in the normal sense of the word, because I don't have any friends here on earth who will take on my illness and bear them for me. I have friends in this world who can support me and do support me, but who will stay with me every moment of the day, will always be available to help if I call on them, and want nothing from me, but want to give to me. It's a very special type of friendship that Bruno Groening is offering. And again, I believe this is true of any true master. So today I feel the phrase, Bruno, I'm at your feet, just feels very comforting to me. Because I've tried to free myself and I wasn't successful. In fact, it took me further down. You know, Bruno Groening knew so much. People over and over said that Bruno Groening would look at them and they felt that he could see and know everything about them. Who can even fathom that? And Bruno gave examples. I talked about this yesterday of, he was one time biking down the street and he said to one of his companions, oh, do you see with your spiritual eye, oh, do you see that temple that was there 4,000 years ago? He said, because once your spiritual eye is fully open, you see everything. I can't even fathom that. So here's someone who sees everything about me, knows everything about me, and wants to help me. And so that person paradoxically knows better than I do what I need. That's a mind blower. Can you imagine? Someone who knows you completely and hence knows what you need. So it's a New Year's. Every day is a new day. I like to wake up in the morning and ask myself, how do I want to be today? To set the intention for the day. I tune in almost first thing in the morning. There's a few prayers I say first. But a beautiful question is, how do I want to be today? How do I want to live? Because we've been given the gift of one more day of life. It's a great way to start the day. And Bruno advised us to end the day reflecting on the day. What did we do where did we fall short? What could we have done better? So that, because when we do harmful things, according to Bruno, we're caught in the force of habit. And the only way to break it is to become aware of it. So the end of the day is a great time to reflect on, where did the force of habit get me today? Where did evil get me today? Where was I a servant of evil today? It doesn't have to be big. Servant of evil sounds like I'm possessed by the devil and I'm going to try and destroy the world. Like that's big evil. Servant of evil can be like eating too much, eating more than your belly is full, or saying some mean words, or having a negative feeling and then dwelling on it. Like, it doesn't have to be something big. It's just evil just seeks to disconnect us from God and lead us on the wrong path. That can be as simple as taking up a negative thought and dwelling on it for too long. So I wish everyone a wonderful new year. I wish everyone a beautiful day of hopefully striving for the good. Mertheo66, greetings from Hamburg, Germany. Guten Tag. Thank you for saying hello. Let's just sit in silence for a little bit. receiving the help of God with the assistance of our dear friend Bruno Groening. Thank you so very much for joining in. If you feel inspired, please continue to tune in on your own. Except you're not on your own. Bruno said, I am with you always. I'm not just saying this. Really believe it. Thank you so very much for joining in.